Why hello there beautiful people, welcome back to Crayniaq Gaming. We are back with another video and we're going to be recapping the Titans 43-13 victory over the Cleveland Browns. And a lot of people had us losing this game. I had this game really close. I still had the Titans winning 16-13. Granted, I didn't have us winning 43-13, but you know, a lot of people slept on us in this game. I didn't see a lot of people picking us to win this one. And somehow, some way, we shock the world yet again. We get another big victory over a media darling. And, you know, of course, the one thing I'm expecting everybody to talk about is what happened to the Cleveland Browns. Are they just overhyped? Nobody's going to give us credit for beating them by 30. I mean, come on, we're the Titans. We're a small market team. Nobody's going to give us credit for this one. But we don't need the media's validation at this point, honestly. Now, granted, it's only one game. And I'm not going to get super hyped up talking all this crap about the Titans going to the Super Bowl or whatever. Because, again, it was only one game. And, you know, historically, especially over the past few seasons, anytime we get a big victory, we always follow it up with a really disappointing loss. And we play the Colts next week. And without Andrew Luck, that is the epitome of a trap game. So I'm not going to get overconfident or anything like that. I'm not going to get super hyped about, you know, our chances this year, because at the end of the day, I really feel like the Browns beat themselves more than anything else, because they had 18 penalties in this game, and they were just shooting themselves in the foot the entire game for the most part. I mean, the first drive, they looked really good. Even in the second half, their second drive in the second half, where David Njoku had the touchdown, like, they looked really good on that drive as well. But then we clapped back with a Derrick Henry touchdown, and after that, it was just all Titans. I mean, honestly, our defense, outside of those two scoring drives, played really well in this game. I mean, they were helped out with a lot of Browns penalties as well. I mean, the Browns definitely didn't do themselves any favors in this game. But we still took advantage. We still could have just let up after those plays. But we didn't. We held on. We played very good defense throughout the game. Now, neither team did very well on third downs. The Browns were 1 for 10. We were like 2 for 10 or whatever. So both offenses were pretty quiet for the most part. But the big difference was Marcus Mariota didn't turn the ball over once. We didn't have a single turnover point blank period. Whereas Baker Mayfield threw 3 picks in the second half. Just really forcing things throughout the second half. As a matter of fact, I believe all of Baker's 3 interceptions were in the fourth quarter. So like Baker was just kind of forcing things, and it led to us getting 21 fourth quarter points. And again, that led to the final 43-13. So let's talk about the Titans offense real quick. Marcus Mariota didn't make any big mistakes. He did throw 3 touchdowns in this one. Now, his only real miss in the game was missing Tajay Sharp on an out route. That could have been a very crucial first down on a third down, I believe it was. But outside of that, I think he played pretty soundly. He did run a few times. He did get caught in the backfield a few times. But, I mean, that's going to happen when your starting left tackle and starting right guard aren't playing. I mean, we definitely missed Taylor Lewan in this one. Dennis Kelly did a pretty good job of holding his own, but Myles Garrett still got after Mariota in this one. He had 2 sacks in the game and 2 QB hits as well. So, it's not like Kelly was perfect in this game, but he still did what he could, and I'm definitely proud of him. He definitely had a key block on that screen touchdown pass to Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry, he started off really slowly. It really showed, you know, the lack of carries that he had in the preseason, of course, with his injury. He definitely looked like he could have used some carries in that fourth game when he was healthy, but he bounced back, had 19 carries, 84 yards, averaged 4.5 yards per carry damn near, and he also had a touchdown on the ground and through the air on that receiving touchdown on the screen pass, which was just a beautifully executed play right after a Browns touchdown, and it really propelled us to blowing this game wide open. So that propelled us to the victory. Dion Lewis was really quiet in this one. Overall, he had 6 touches for 13 yards. That's really not what we expect from him. I mean, if this continues, we're going to see a lot more David Fluellen, a lot more Dalen Dawkins backing up Henry, spelling Henry. But hopefully Lewis gets it together and at least shows flashes of what he was last year. I mean, he was a pretty dependable receiving back out of the backfield last season. He did pretty good carrying the football last year as well. Hopefully he can get back to that form. Now, receiving wise, A.J. Brown looked really good when we can get him the football. 3 catches, 100 yards in his first ever game, and all 3 of his catches were big plays, especially the third one where he juked out a few defenders. It looked like he was going to get a touchdown, but then he cut inside, got brought down. That led to a field goal, I believe. But still, a really good game from A.J. Brown. Adam Humphries was pretty quiet in this one. Only 1 catch for 5 yards. Did draw a or a holding call, actually. That should have been a pass interference call. But Adam Humphries was really quiet. Corey Davis was targeted 3 times. Didn't register a catch in this one, so that's kind of disappointing. Jonnu Smith only had 1 catch. Delanie Walker looked pretty good. Had 2 touchdowns in this game. 5 catches, 55 yards. Definitely looked like his old self. I mean, didn't get a lot of catches in this one. I mean, 5 is kind of low for him, honestly, and 55 yards is kind of low, but 2 touchdowns, that's very impressive. And honestly, it was just kind of where we're going with the flow of the game offensively. I mean, the Browns defense is really good. I know you're like, oh, but they gave up 43 points. Well, you also have to remember Baker Mayfield did throw 3 interceptions, and at a certain point their defense just got really tired in the fourth quarter, and that's how we got the 21 points to put the game away. But Delanie Walker, I think he's on his way to his old self at this point. He still averaged 11 yards per catch, so that's always really good. Hopefully he's able to turn it up later on in the season. Offensive line-wise, I mean, it was tough for us to get a lot of yards, but you also have to remember the Browns have a pretty good defensive line. I mean, Larry Ogunjobi is definitely a really good run stopper. Same with Sheldon Richardson. Even Myles Garrett's really good at stopping the run as well. So for Derrick Henry to get 84 yards on 19 carries is still damn good. I mean, and we're missing 2 of our starters. Of course, Taylor Lewan is suspended, and Kevin Pomfield had a knee injury, so he didn't play. Jamil Douglas did what he could. And honestly, Dennis Kelly did a pretty good job for the most part. I mean, he did give up 2 sacks. I mean, you can't really excuse those, but at the same time, for the most part, I feel like the offensive line played pretty decently. They didn't play as bad as I thought they would. But then again, Arthur Smith ran a lot of rollout passes to get Mariota away from the pocket pretty much. And I think that helped keep him upright for the most part. The Browns still got to him a few times. They got 4 sacks in this game. But overall, I think Arthur Smith called a very smart game. He didn't try to do too much, and he didn't really need to do too much. So definitely commend him for that. Hopefully, once our offensive line is fully healed, he's able to do a better job of getting the offense to be a little more explosive, especially with A.J. Brown looking as good as he did in this game, especially with Derrick Henry looking as good as he did in this game. I mean, offensively, hopefully we show a little less conservativeness, I guess is the word. I mean, we went 2 for 10 on 3rd downs, which isn't very good, but it's the first week of the season. We could always get better. But now we move to the defense, and for the most part, I feel like Nick Chubb really cut us up for most of the game. His longest carry was 15 yards, but then again, Derrick Henry's longest carry of the game was 18 yards, so it's like, you know, it's kind of they're in the same boat. But Chubb had a really good game in this one, in my opinion. Didn't have any touchdowns, but overall, I think Nick Chubb definitely is a really good running back for the Cleveland Browns. They don't really even need Kareem Hunt, honestly. If they wanted to trade him, I don't think anybody could be too mad at them. Chubb is really good out of the backfield as well, although he didn't get to showcase it a whole lot. He had 3 catches for 10 yards. Was kind of quiet as far as receiving goes, but still. Baker Mayfield, on the other hand, I mean, he looked good on that first drive. He looked good in the 3rd quarter as well, but it just seemed like in the 4th quarter when the Browns were down, he really just started trying to force things, and that led to his 4 fourth quarter interceptions. And honestly, I still think Baker Mayfield has the potential to be a really good quarterback in the NFL, but he has to stop trying to force passes straight up, because his turnovers led to 21 points in the 4th quarter. All 4 turnovers led to touchdowns, whether directly or indirectly. Of course, Malcolm Butler had that pick 6 pretty much in garbage time at that point. But honestly, Baker just has to play smarter late in games when your team's trailing by by 9 points at that point when he threw his first interception. So Mayfield just has to calm down in those situations, be more cool, calm, and collected instead of trying to force passes that just aren't there, because this Titans secondary was good enough to force those into mistakes, force those into interceptions, and basically just blew the game wide open from there. Receiving wise, Odell Beckham, for a guy with an injured hip, he would look pretty good. 7 catches, 71 yards. Definitely got open a few times. Same with Jarvis Landry. Rashard Higgins was slowed down with an injury in this one. David Njoku, who had a really good game, had one of the 2 touchdowns for the Browns, actually got injured and left the game. So the Browns definitely have a really good receiving core overall with Beckham, Landry, Higgins, and Njoku. The problem was they were just getting way too many penalties. I mean, I think their offensive line problems really started with Greg Robinson getting ejected for kicking Kenny Vaccaro right in the neck. He got ejected for that. Then Lamb, who was like the backup tackle, got taken out of the game with an injury. So they were down to their 3rd string offensive line, and Justin McCray, no relation to CJ McCray of the Baltimore State dynasty. I mean, he looked pretty good at first. Maybe he should be the starter. He had like a pancake at one point. But overall, like, the Browns were just like getting stupid penalties. It was like if it wasn't an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, it was an unnecessary roughness penalty, or a false start, or a holding call. They just, I mean, you name it, they got called for it pretty much in this game. Overall, just a very undisciplined game for the Cleveland Browns. And this is a much more talented team than the score will show you. Like, the Browns are actually a very talented team on both sides of the football. The problem is, when you get called for 18 penalties, you're not going to win no matter who you're playing against. And that's exactly what happened to the Browns. 18 penalties for 182 yards. I mean, and 3 turnovers. You add that onto that, and then going 1 for 10 from 3rd down, then 0 for 2 on 4th down. Although one of the 4th downs was in garbage time, so you can't really hold that against them. But you're not going to be able to win football games like that. I'm sorry, you're just not. Straight up. So the Browns definitely have a lot of talent on both sides of the football, but it doesn't really matter if you're getting 18 penalties in a game. Now, the Titans had 6 penalties. They're better than the Browns as far as penalties went in this game, but they still got to cut down. They still got to cut down on their penalties as well. But overall, I'm just glad we proved a lot of people wrong. I'm not going to get super overhyped about this game because, again, it is the Browns. You know, the Browns haven't really proven anything. They won the offseason this past offseason, but it's like outside of that, they haven't really done a whole lot. You know, they still have a lot to prove. They still got to prove that they can play together as a team. And in this game, they sure as hell didn't do that. I also want to give a big shout out to Cameron Wake, who everybody told me he was going to be washed up this year. He had 2.5 sacks and also got a safety as well in this game. So how's that for a guy that was supposed to be washed up in this game? 2.5 sacks. He had a really good game. Sharif Finch also had a sack. Logan Ryan had 1.5 sacks in this game. So we got a pretty good pass rush. Hopefully Harold Landry is able to get a sack in this one. Wake actually also had 4 QB hits in this one as well. So Cameron Wake is looking to be a force this year at the age of 38. After everybody told me he was going to be washed up. So I'm glad to see him proving people wrong, and hopefully it continues throughout the season. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching it. I'm so glad the Titans got this victory, and hopefully it leads to a lot more this season. But let me know what you thought of the game in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the sub button if you're new. Also, hit the notification bell to join the notification gang. And if you guys like what I do on the channel and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider pledging to me on Patreon. The link's going to be in the description as always. A big shout out to my current patrons: Franchise Gaming, Beat Up Productions, Colin Mentor, Zach Brader, and Joshua Fernald. Really appreciate you guys. Even $1 a month helps out the channel exponentially. But like I always say, guys, patronage and donations are never required for me to do what I do, but they're always very much appreciated. And you guys have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day now, whenever you're watching this. And like I always say, guys, no matter what happens, make sure you guys keep that mofo rolling. And I'm out of here. Deuces.
God, they tryna turn me to a monster. Every year I'm a conquer. Okay, see, I bring the thunder. Walking in humble, Ali Muhammad. Sting you like Bumble. Running with pride. 10 over, eyes through a bliss. I don't fumble blind.